Hey guys, it's your host of the Chomp Daily again. I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to come out with a video today just because I've been reviewing some more recent news. I guess there's been some pop-ups with the new Mega Evolutions are supposedly leaked and everyone's grasping at straws. So there's some stuff I put onto the back burner. But I'm going to do some shiny videos either tonight or tomorrow morning. But I may push out something tonight just so I can give you guys something more. But I wanted to get this done. This is our final episode of Shiny Showdown. We are now into the final, not only round, but obviously the final episode. So we're going to go through each type from the 3 generations we have selected to win to see who is the best generation. So, with that being said, as always, like, subscribe, and share and favorite, just so you can follow me along, and let's try to get to 500 members. You guys don't understand how much you guys humble me and make me extremely proud to have this channel. So let's continue growing and let's get into this. So our winners so far from our 3 rounds have been Gen 3, 4, and 8. Which I think the last episode I did, which was over news, I think I said Gen 7 won, but that's not the case. Gen 8 won just because Legends Arceus kind of clutched it for him. But we're still going to go through each one and see who wins. So the first one we're going to go through is normal type. So I got Swellow, Regigigas, and then Hisuian, Zoroark. So obviously Swellow's kicked out of here. I mean, it's just doesn't hold up to Regigigas. It obviously doesn't hold up to the Ghost Normal of Zoroark. So what exactly, wins this first round for normal? So we have really a tie down between Regigigas and Zoroark, but we're not going to take into account a battle usage. It's just purely aesthetics of it being used in game. Zoroark, it's shiny, even its 2D form is nice, but in game it's just so much more polished. Don't get me wrong, I love Regigigas, and again, I am a Gen 4 supporter. Like Gen 4 is my absolute favorite generation, and Pokemon Platinum is my favorite game. But we have to be considerate of what wins here. And I'm going to give it to Gen 8. I'm going to give it to Legends Arceus with Zoroark. Now, we're going to go over to fire types. Now, Torkoal is sadly out. Gen 3 is not doing too well here, but Gen 4 and Gen 8 are kind of at it right now. So, with Rotom Shiny, I've always been a very big fan of Rotom Shiny. And I'm also a huge fan of Shiny Charizard. But I think how they transferred Shiny Charizard Shiny into its Gigamax form is superb. And again, I understand Charizard gets a lot of love, but again, Charizard's just such a great Pokemon. I mean, it's a great starter to use. It's one of my absolute favorite starters. Actually, my second favorite starter. But even if how good it is, I do agree, it does get a little bit too much notoriety. But here, I do have to give it the win. So Gen 8 is 2-0 right now. Now, we're going to go over to water types. And I'm going to say off the bat, and I know some people will kind of find this controversial, but Urshifu's, I believe that's its water form, its shiny is out. Just because I feel that it's weak to the others. I know Palkia is there, but Palkia's shiny is not as bad as people think. Palkia's shiny is actually quite nice for a subtle shiny. But I do not feel that it beats Shiny Melodic. Shiny Melodic is just too famous at this point. So I want to give it to Gen 3. So the only one that doesn't have won so far is Gen 4, which makes me kind of upset. And as we go over to grass types, we have, we got Tangrowth, we got Hisuian, our Mr. Hisuian Samurai, over here. But, obviously, we got the entire Sceptile line as well, as that line also has great shinies. But really, it comes down to which one pulls off the green more. Is it Hisuian Decidueye? Is it Tangrowth? Is it Sceptile? I'm personally going to have to give it to Sceptile. I do like Sceptile shiny a lot. It's a shiny that I used on my team in Scarlet for some time. I do still use it for like raids and just sometimes just putting it in. But a close second is definitely Tangrowth. Tangrowth is awesome. I love it. but it's just not going to win. And honestly, Hisuian Decidueye is just as good as Tangrowth. But Sceptile is going to win this. So it's 2-2 for Gen 3 and 7, but 0 for Gen 4. But Gen 4 is going to get its first win here with its electric type standing at Shiny, Shiny Luxray. Minun isn't a bad Shiny. I actually do like a Shiny, but it's not compared to Luxray. And then obviously our Dracozolt, I believe that is, it isn't going to hold up against Luxray. So Luxray is going to win, so Gen 4 is now on the board. Now we go over to Ice types. Now, I think that's Arctivish, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Gen 8 fossils are just weird to me. You know, there's weird fossils, and even today, like, there's just some of them I just forget top of my head. But with no bias, I'm going to give it to Gen 4 again. I love Welrin, but Welrin's renditions overall have been great. But sometimes it's really hard to look at, because especially in 3D, it's just so vibrant of a pink. And I don't hate pink. And it's still a really good shiny. But Mamoswine's is just really smooth, especially when it transfers over to 3D, especially within Pokemon Scarlet specifically and Violet. It's just that fur texture with the it just looks nice. You know, it's a really nice shiny. It's not as much of a vibrant pea green like you'd see with like the vegetable pea. It's just really nice transition. I mean, it's still a good shiny here, but with it transitions just better. So Mamoswine wins it for them. So the last 2 rounds, Gen 4 is won. Arctivish isn't bad, but I don't feel that it holds up to the other 2. Now on to fighting. Now fighting, it really just comes down to all 3 of them actually, because I love Breloom Shiny. Do not get me wrong, Breloom Shiny is nice. But the fact that Gen 8 just uses Zapdos's Shiny is just really clever. And then obviously Gen 4 Shiny Lucario, especially when it is in its Mega, looks amazing. So really it goes by how it's rendered, obviously. Some of these have all these have been rendered in a 3D. All Pokemons have been rendered 3D, I'm pretty sure, especially now with Patrat being brought back. I would personally have to say, and I'm going to tell you this, Gen 8 is not winning this one. And I know it's going to be controversial, and I understand some people would want it to win. But the only reason why Gen 8 isn't winning is, even though that shiny is nice, and it's personally one of my favorite shinies within Gen 8, it isn't necessarily a unique take. It is unique in the fact that it took the shiny, well, not shiny, but the regular colors of Zapdos and put it on to its Galarian form. And that is unique, but as a original shiny, just a shiny where its colors are just unorthodox, I have to stump it. And I don't like to do that, but I feel that we kind of have to, just because, you know, it just makes it a little bit more fair. And it's really down to Breloom or Lucario. And again, no bias to this, but I'm going to have to give it to Gen 4 again. And here's why. Shiny Lucario has kind of become a staple, and it's kind of become famous within the Pokemon community. And don't get me wrong, all these shinies are famous within the Pokemon community to an extent, but Shiny Lucario has been featured a lot. It's almost to the same stance as Charizard, or at least the shiny version of Charizard, with how much it's been shown. And it transitions into its Mega Evolution really nice. And with us using Shiny Charizard that won, you know, we have to use its other mechanics. You know, if we're going to use Charizard's Shiny within Gigamax, we can use the Mega Evolution within Lucario, and I feel that its Shiny transfers really well. So Breloom almost wins. I'm not kidding. Breloom was about to be the winner for this. Like, after reviewing this, I was really debating on Breloom, but I'm going to give it to Lucario. So right now it's 2-2 with Gen 3 and 7, but Gen 4 has 3. Now, this may not be the case for Gen 4 here. Now, I love Drapion, but Drapion's 3D render, even though it's still a good shiny in 3D, it's definitely become a little bit more washed. And that's unfortunate, because this is actually not that bad of a shiny. It's actually a really good shiny. Gigamax Toxicity. I always have an issue saying this one. It's really nice. It's like a weird double shade of maroon and pink. It's odd, but it's awesome. It's great. But I'm going to give it to Survivor, and here's why. Not only was Survivor one of the earlier shinies I caught playing Pokemon Emerald, but every time I look at it, I just really like how it looks. I like the jumbled bunch of colors, and I didn't grow up around that time just because I was, I'm a baby of the very, very, very early 2000s. So I didn't witness it, but there was a Jurassic Park toy line, which I think was called Chaos Theory, and they had a bunch of mutated dinosaurs that were just a bunch of jumbled up colors, just like that. Like, you had dinosaurs that were like green, yellow, and blue, and like they were the most absurd colors and most absurd designs, and it reminds me of that. It's absolutely weird. Not the game, but the toys themselves were like in like the 90s, which obviously that's when Jurassic Park was really hitting. And I know Jurassic Park is huge now. Like, you can go to Target and find a whole bunch of them, a bunch of their toys. But like those original Chaos Theories, those are lost to time, man. And it just reminds me of that. So just because of that and just how I found it, I'm giving it just the edge over the other two because they're all really similar. So now it's 3-3 with 4 and Gen 3. Gen 7 has 2. Now, for Gen 3, 4, and 7, we're going to go into ground typing. Now, this one's difficult because I really like Runerigus. I actually had Runerigus on my team for some time, and I actually really want to get me a shiny one to just use in raids. The only reason I don't use it now is just because Aegislash is just better. It's a better ghost type. But this is a really good Pokemon, and it's really a good take on the entire Yonmask line. But Shiny Swampert, it just has an aura to it, and so does Shiny Gengar. Not Gengar, oh my god, Gliscor. Gengar was going to be on here, but it's obviously not within the winning bracket. But Gengar almost carried Gen 1, I can tell you that. But no, not Gengar, Gliscor, Jesus. But Gliscor does have that Gengar smile, I guess, so you can give it that. But either way, I think what hurts Runerigus is that even though it is, everything about it's like a different color and shade, it's just so dark, and that's absolutely fine. But it has too much of a focus on its blue eye. I feel like its shiny should be separated out more. I mean, obviously the rest of it is shiny. Like, it's all different color, from the stone to the purple carvings on it. That's fine. But I feel that there's so much of a focus on its blue eye that I have to dock it a point. And I think I'm going to give it to Swampert. Just because Swampert shiny just catches my eye more. With Gliscor, I love Gliscor. I do love it shiny, but I feel you can sometimes take a double take, like, oh, that's definitely a shiny, where if I see a shiny Swampert, I know automatically that is a shiny. I'm not saying that Gliscor shiny is subtle, because it's not, but it's the same palette as its original, which blue and purple are in a near palette, so that sometimes, depending on the lighting, you can do a double take with it. So, with that being said, Gen 3 and 4, I believe, are still tied. And we're going into flying types. And for this one, I can tell you automatically Gen 3 is winning this one. Salamance's shiny is absolutely elite. The green of a regular dragon with a nice orange just helps complement it. I do like Staraptor's shiny. It's actually one that I caught within the wild in Paldea. It was actually at the Casaroya Lake. There's like a little pod of Starly and then like a Staraptor that leads them, and I found it. I have 2 of those, so I do love it shiny, but it's not strong enough to beat Salamence. And then Corviknight has a really nice shiny, but again, it's just so dark, and it just doesn't compare to the nice typical green dragon that Salamence is. So Gen 3 is in the lead, and we're going to go over to Gen 7. Similar to the Galarian Zapdos, Galarian Articuno, I feel that the uniqueness is just not there. I do like, again, all of the Galarian bird shinies are absolutely amazing. because they're all just reminiscent of the original birds that they're based off of. But it's really a toss-up because Gallade and Metagross are just better overall. But I'm going to give it to Metagross. And I honestly think that the internet wouldn't be too happy if I didn't choose Metagross, but Metagross is just so good. So I'm going to give it to Metagross. So Gen 3 is winning, and I love Gen 3. I mean, like if I didn't have Gen 4, I'd definitely be a Gen 3 supporter. But going on to Bug type, we have Yanmega and Ariados, and then Orbeetle. I'm going to give this a Gen 4. Yanmega is absolutely amazing. I love its design. I love its shiny. I love what it's based off of, which is the Megatheria, which is a giant dragonfly from the prehistoric dinosaur era. Ariados is still a great shiny. I love it shiny, and Orbeetle is a really good shiny too. I love its UFO-based design, but I just don't feel that they both beat Yanmega. Now on to Rock. So with this being said, I love Kleavor. And then the entire Lilip line is just really, really nice. But I'm going to give it to Rampardos, just because Rampardos' nice color, nice changed gray on that nice crimson. It is an instant eye catcher. Don't get me wrong. Gen 3 and 4, their candidates are just as good. But I feel that Rampardos is just better, so I'm gonna give it to Gen 5. Not Gen 5, sorry, Gen 4. But that means Gen 3 and 4 are tied. Gen 8 is struggling to win one here. But it's going to win one now with its Ghost. Hisuian Zorua is going to win this one. I mean, it's such a good shiny. I mean, the Zoroark line in general, its shinies are nice. But shiny Hisuian Zorua is going to win this one. Mainly just for the fact of just the white and blue just mix so well. The damn Drifblim line is really nice. It was one of the first ones I fought and caught in Legends Arceus. And Sableye is also a really good shiny, but they're just not strong enough compared to Zorua. And now we're going to go over to Dragon types. And you already know my favorite Dragon type. Well, my favorite Pokemon that's a legendary is Giratina. My favorite dragon of all time, and my favorite Pokemon of all time is Garchomp. Obviously, that's our mascot. But let me tell you, this is a very close race because Latias and Dragapult are very, very good shinies. And on my Pokemon Shield, I caught me a shiny Latias within Dynamax Adventures, and I use her on my team. I'm currently trying to find Latios, which I'm going to stream to you guys. So I'm going to hold off on shiny hunting it so you guys can be there with me when I do. Dragapult, I love Dragapult. This is a Pokemon that I use it shiny often. Within Pokemon Scarlet, I use it on my team off and on. I use it in raids. It's such a good Pokemon. But then when you compare it to to the dragons within Gen 4, you have such great ones, but obviously Giratina stands out, and Giratina is taking the cake here. Honestly, Gen 4 is going to win with this, and this puts Gen 4 in the lead by 1, I believe. But it's a very close match, because these 3 dragons are absolutely amazing. Now going on to Dark types, this one's also a close matchup. Because the one thing I did like about Gen 8 was how they had a new take on the Zigzagoon line. And how they turned it into the dark normal typing. And even though I love it shiny, I cannot give it the win here. I love Sharpedo. I love how pink it is. But I do not believe that these guys stand up to a peak subtle shiny like Darkrai. You can have really good subtle shinies, and some of the best shinies are subtle. Maybe not the best, but if you make a genuine good subtle shiny, then it's going to carry. And Darkrai is a peak example of what you should do to make a Pokemon shiny, but in a subtle way, but in a way to where you automatically notice and you automatically love it. It's hard to do good shinies that are subtle. and this is one of those where it happens. The purple from its original black is a little bit darker, so it almost looks like it's black, but you can tell it's purple. Its neck scarf thing is a little bit more of a magenta, and then its eye becomes like a greenish cyan type deal. Darkrai carries this round for Gen 4. Going on to Steel, we have Jirachi, Hisuian Gudra, and Dialga. Now, I love Dialga Shiny. It's a great one. But I do not feel that it beats Jirachi. Can't even talk. Good lord. I do not think it beats Jirachi or even beats Hisuian Gudra. Hisuian Gudra is really, really good. And it's one that I even had, well, I still have on my Hisuian team. But I'm going to give it to Gen 3. Jirachi is amazing. I had a Jirachi on my Let's Go playthroughs. And it wasn't shiny, but it's still really good. I wish I could, but I believe its shiny is locked within that game. Let me know down in the comments if that's true. I swear I heard that through the grapevine. I've not played the Let's Go games in so long. For a reason, just because it's one of the weirder games. But it was really nice having a Steel Psychic like Jirachi. So Gen 3 wins this. So now on to Fairy type. So this one's kind of a stalemate, because even though, like, Togekiss is also one of those subtle shinies that I'm like, this is an example of a good subtle shiny. And some people hate it shiny, but I feel that they executed it well for it to be an actual subtle shiny. I mean, like, the triangles are different, the blue and greens are different. I just feel that it's given a lot more hate than it absolutely should. Shiny Gardevoir is amazing, and it's probably one of the leading factors here, but Grimmsnarl, I'm going to give the Gen 8. It may be a lost cause for Gen 8, just because, Gen 8 is down by a lot, but I will let you know this. Grimmsnarl Shiny is nice. The Aaron Yeager Pokemon is nice, so I'm going to give it to Gen 8, just because Grimmsnarl does beat this. He just squeaks it out by Gardevoir. Gardevoir is nice, but it resorts too much on its white while trying to introduce new colors. And I know you're going to say, Grimmsnarl is all white. Yes, but its primary focus is the white. The Gardevoir, it's designed trying to focus on the blue and subtle orange, but it's too covered by white, which I'm not saying it's a bad shiny. Again, Shiny Gardevoir is an elite shiny. I'm not saying that this is a bad shiny. I'm just saying compared to my personal preferences, I would choose a shiny Grimmsnarl. Now to starters. Now, Swampert is amazing. Torterra is amazing. So is Inteleon. But I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give this to Gen 8 again. Inteleon Shiny is nice, and Inteleon's my favorite of the starters there within Gen 8. And many people believe that Gen 8 had a weak starter cast. I don't think any generation has a weak starter cast, but they did go a little bit too humanoid. But for some people, they are absolutely amazing. I do like Inteleon, so I'm going to give it its due here as a starter. It's going to win its shiny placement. Gimmick form. Automatically, there's Gen 3. Gen 3 is winning this. I mean, it's shiny Mega Rayquaza. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it's just better than Eternatus and Lucario in their forms. It's just a staple at this point. And I can't just not... I can't not choose it. So Mega Rayquaza wins the gimmick forms. Now, for legendaries, I'm going to give this to Giratina. Now, I know this is going to be controversial, because don't get me wrong, and this is coming from my heart personally. Shiny Rayquaza and Rayquaza is one of my absolute favorite. Shiny is one of my absolute favorite Pokemon. Rayquaza is my second favorite legendary, behind Giratina, and its shiny is just as good, and if not, in some situations, better than Giratina. But as a whole, without those situations being met, which again, those situations, like, it's Mega. Like, Mega Shiny Rayquaza just hits a little bit harder than, the origin form of Giratina. But I don't feel that is completely fair, because we're not comparing that. We're comparing just them as legendaries, and both forms of Giratina are not gimmicks. Both forms are just they're just the original forms of Giratina. Like, Giratina can transform into them whenever. Where with Megas, it's like it's an entirely new situation. It's entirely new gimmick. It boosts stuff. Giratina's form does give it some boost, but it is not the same as a Mega evolution. It doesn't do as much impact as a Mega would. And really, Giratina's secondary form, it isn't necessarily one that is to be seen as a gimmick because it uses it to traverse better. I mean, when it is in its Underrealm, it uses it to fly more. And when it's in the Overworld, it will bring out its actual legs and, be in its, leg form. So, to me, I don't feel that its origin form is going to be, be something that can disqualify it because it's more of a way of life for it. So I'm going to give it to Giratina. Obviously, my favorite is Giratina out of all of these. So with that being said, the best shiny generation, the generation that has the best shinies, with a very close battle, I'm going to give it to Gen 4. It is my personal favorite. I tried being as unbiased as I could. As you can see, I gave rounds all over the place. But you have to look at it from a color standpoint and look at it non-biasedly. Because obviously, if you were to compare legendaries and you had Mega Rayquaza up there compared to Origin Form Giratina, I'm going to choose Mega Shiny Rayquaza. But that's why we had them separated between Gimmick Form and Legendary. The Origin Form of Giratina isn't really a gimmick. It's really a transportation form. It uses it to transport and stuff. Where Mega Rayquaza is just it being overpowered and just terrifying. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the series. I know it's gotten some views, and I hope when you guys do view this, you guys either agree or you guys let me know what you think. So down below, let me know what you think. Let me know what generation you believe is the best. Do you agree with me picking Gen 4? Do you believe Gen 3 should have won? Do you believe Gen 8 should have won? Let me know down below your favorite shinies and what you think of this video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Majority of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It is absolutely free. And if you have any suggestions of what we should do within the near future, let me know and I will do them. So keep your ears open, your eyes open, because I'm going to be posting again since I got everything settled. And the new news videos I'll be doing real soon are not going to be grasping at straws. I try to make my news videos more informational as possible, and whenever I go over something that's a little bit more, rumor and not fact-based, I always try telling you guys to take it with a grain of salt, because we don't have confirmed megas yet or anything, but I at least like to mention it. Just because there is a high possibility we get 17 new megas, but there's also a possibility we get 50. I hope it's not that many, but there's definitely that possibility. So with that being said, be a chomp above the rest, as always. And I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.